Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing The Florida Project. This film was directed by Sean Baker. This is his sixth feature-length film, I believe, and his previous film, 2015 film, Tangerine Dream, gained a lot of critical acclaim, and it was known primarily for being shot entirely on an iPhone. But it certainly gave him a lot of notoriety, and this film, The Florida Project, has also been buzzed about quite a bit, and for good reason. This is a wonderful film. It seems very stripped down and very serendipitous in its style, but it's quite flawlessly pieced together. And I think what he has been able to achieve is to kind of take away a lot of those cliches that we would normally see in a film like this, and yet he makes poverty, a life of poverty, seem both very sad and very heartbreaking, yet at the same time it pops with this vivid beauty. Not an easy thing to do. Those are two concepts that are kind of at the opposite ends of the spectrum, but this movie is able to find a sweet spot. It finds that balance between that childlike joy and that inevitable bitterness of reality. Even though the film is beautiful to look at, you always feel that sense of reality hovering over it, a lot like the helicopter that is constantly used throughout the film that's always hovering above. The movie takes place during the summer, and it's about a little girl named Mooney and her friends going on all kinds of different adventures, defying authority and having a blast while doing it. They all live in this dump of a motel, and it is located very close to Disneyland. So it has a lot of that cheap, very gaudy quality. The entire area does. It's kind of that sort of rhinestones, not diamonds sort of thing. It's flashy and it's meant to appeal to tourists, but I think the film is interesting because the first half of it doesn't really have a center, doesn't have a core. I remember while I was watching, I was constantly thinking, okay, where's this going? You know, what is all of this going to amount to in the end? But after looking at the big picture, it all feels earned. It all makes sense. The first half of the film allows you to really kind of settle into this world and really experience all of the different characters, all the different people living in the hotel, because many of them are very, well, I say all of them are very unique, very authentic. You see all kinds of things. You see Mooney and her mother trying to sell perfume in parking lots so that she can provide for her daughter. You see the kids spitting on cars from the balcony of the motel, and you see the kids breaking into abandoned houses, that sort of stuff. The movie, to me at least, is very reminiscent of a lot of those French New Wave films by people like Godard and Truffaut, because it has that kind of spontaneous, spirited quality that is more interested in the little moments, the in-between, and human behavior, rather than building a story around the emotional climaxes, which is something I personally prefer most of the time. I love that Baker doesn't judge these characters. He seems to be observing them just as they are. Like, for instance, you look at Mooney's mother, Haley, and she's this young mother who is extremely tempestuous and very rebellious. She does not take orders from anybody, and she's clearly too young to be a mother because she does not give her child much discipline at all. But you know, it's clear that she loves her and she really does care about her. And the two of them have fun together. Yeah, it seems more like a sibling dynamic rather than mother and daughter, but I think there's some really beautiful moments between the two of them. And then you have the manager of the motel, Bobby, who's played wonderfully by Willem Dafoe. And I love that he's constantly trying to keep kind of these rather sketchy inhabitants of the hotel under control. And at times it seems like he just wants to pull his hair out, but yet he really does care about them. I think that he gets a certain satisfaction in his job. He certainly cares about Mooney and her mother, even though they may drive him absolutely crazy. But I think that if he really, really didn't like them, they would have been out a long time ago. To me, the real power of the movie, and I realized it about halfway through, is just how well they're able to take the lives of the adults and take the lives of the children and sort of blend them together harmoniously. We see that vigor and that innocence in the children, yet we also see the humanity in the adults despite the poverty that surrounds them all. There's a lot of commentary on America, the American dream, the economy in particular, seeing a lot of these kind of cheesy strip malls and hotels that look very bright and bubbly from the distance, but up close they're quite seedy. But it also represents the idea of fantasies, as I said, chasing dreams, and that kind of those faux ideals, because that's sort of what Disneyland represents, is that corporate idealism. And even, you know, where Mooney lives, it's called the Magic Kingdom. And the film does start to find its center, and it becomes more serious, but it's anything but grim. It's beautiful and very fresh, and it finds the beauty in almost everything. And a lot of that is because of the children. Even the Magic Kingdom itself, it looks like this grimy dump of a place, yet it's full of color. It's just, there's so many beautiful, bright purples and blues and greens from inside the actual hotel rooms. It's as if we're seeing everything through a child's eyes, very wide-eyed and vivid. There's beauty even in the gutter, so to speak, even in things that may seem very mundane. And I think that's Baker's strength as an artist. And yes, even though these people are very poor, and we know as viewers that a lot of their antics, they're not going to be able to get away with them for very long, there's a joy to be had even while they're doing it. There's a moment I really liked in the movie towards the end where Haley, she's obviously getting cornered because of a lot of the illicit activities that she's partaking in order to pay for her room and obviously to feed her daughter and all of that. And she knows that things are getting bad, but there's this wonderful moment where she and her daughter are just outside playing in the rain. And it's so pure and beautiful, despite all of the things that have happened before and the things that will happen later. It's living in the moment, finding the adventure and the excitement in life, and how important that is, even if the bitterness of reality will eventually destroy a lot of that purity. Things just don't last. We all have to grow up, yet we keep believing in these fantasies, these Disneyland fantasies, because that's all we know how to do, even though it may be a sort of faulty belief. That's really the idea that stuck with me after the film was over, trying to find that simultaneous blend of beauty in the chaos is, as I said, not an easy thing to do, and they achieved it wonderfully. I think this is quite a piece of work, and I hope it gets more attention. It really does deserve it, and it must be seen. And that's my review. Thank you all for listening. All my social media information is below. You can watch more videos here, and you can subscribe if you'd like. Catch you next time.